This is typical stuff that I have worked with my students and graduates who have come to me in how to get a job. And I'm going to tell you, my system is it's more aggressive than what most people use. It's different than following the rest of the system. And I'll admit straight out, as far as I know, I only know a few people who've used it. The one thing I can say is all of them have had very good luck with it. Not luck, it works. The system works. And but you've got to have the courage to do it. Okay? To begin with, understand that the system for getting hired was created by by the company side, not by the employee side. And it's been developed over time, really, by the corporate world, by the large corporate world. But the entire system looks like this. It is designed to have you go around and go, please, 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 can I work for you? And maybe you'll give me some money for showing up and doing things for you, please. That's how the system's designed. It's designed to get you to beg. It's designed for you to jump through hoops and do tricks and show up and dress right and they even got to the point now where they're using the questionnaire thing and all of that. Some of you will have experienced that. Oh, by the way, the professor I worked with, we've got quite a bit of evidence that shows those things don't work for companies. They're really garbage. If a company asks you if you were a color, what color are you? You should run away. It's a company that's bought into complete psychological gobbledygook, and those systems are not good for you. They're bad for you. And they're finding their way. They started in big Fortune 500 companies, and now I know that there's a local coffee shop who asks those questions and uses those questionnaires, and I happen to know that they regularly miss hiring the best people. I know because I hire them, and it's just amazing the quality of people. The best people I know they've skipped over on because they don't handle the questionnaire properly, and so it's just junk. But that whole system is designed to have you crawling around begging for a job, and the whole system it's just broken. It just doesn't work out for people very good. So the system really starts with this. It starts with, when a student walks into my office and says, okay, I printed my 100 resumes, I know they bought into the system. No, print 2 resumes. Okay? The system should start with pick a company you want to work for. That's the most important thing. Start with a company worthy of you. Okay? And just the fact that they'll give you a paycheck does not make them worthy. I'm going to get sidetracked so easily here. The number of bad managers I'm seeing is mind-boggling. You would want to know if the manager at the place that you work regularly yells at their employees. Almost every employee I hire nowadays is deathly afraid of being yelled at by me or whatever, and it's because that's become the go-to management style, and I don't get that at all. I don't get yelling at, swearing at, blaming. I don't get any of that stuff. It makes no sense, and it does not make good employees. So you want to know about the place. You want to make sure the place is worthy, and what makes it worthy, that's up to you. Okay? A paycheck is only a piece of it. Is it the kind of company you want to work for? Will it get you someplace? What are your goals in life? What's bigger than just showing up certain hours of the day and getting a paycheck? What matters to you, and how does that place fit on your pathway to where you want to go? So start with that. Now, I should preface this with the fact that I am not an expert at getting hired at Boeing or Microsoft or some other Fortune 500 company. And what I will try to tell you at the end how my system actually works there too, but it works in a slightly different way. Okay? Mostly I'm a small business guy. Again, a small business is a company with 100, 150 employees left. My primary definition of a small business is a business you can access the owner of. Okay, so if the owner is available on site of the business, even if the business has multiple locations, if you can access the owner of a business, it's a small business. Okay, so begin with pick the business. Next, print your 2 resumes. Okay, I'm telling you that you really only need 1, but I'm telling you 2 because if the business owner is listening to me, you need 2. Because of my system for the other side of this. How do I hire people? Which will probably come up, or I'll tell it at some point. So you have 2 of them. The next thing you want to do is you want to learn as much about that business as you can. One of the most interesting hiring experiences for me was when I owned my multimedia studio. So owned a production studio. We did audio recording and video recording and live event planning and these sorts of things. And because we were in that industry, people who wanted to be in that industry walked through my door every day. I mean, I would say we averaged, during the whole time we were running, we averaged almost once a day somebody would come in looking for a job for me because it was the right industry. It usually went like this: hey, can I talk to somebody about getting a job? Or can I get an application? Which I've never used applications, ever. Walk in, and usually I just throw them out. Actually, I had the person who worked our front desk. She wasn't really a secretary. She did other stuff. But I'd have her just say, no, he's not here, go away. Because if we never saw them again, it didn't matter. That's where the 2 resume thing is. Is she was told, just throw it away. On day 1, just when the first time you see them, throw it away. If they come back in the second time, that's a better starting point. But you could see in my office, so it was obvious I was there sometimes. So they would walk in. My first question is, somebody who walks in looking for a job from me is, what do you know about my company? Shocking to me how often people knew nothing about my company. Nothing. We were called Inspiration Studio, so we were a studio. They knew what was on the sign outside the building. That's about it. Okay, we did web design, really high-end web design at the time. Because of that, we had a website that told you everything about us. I mean, the amount of information there was just, it was huge because we had to demonstrate all the things we could do. Had secret hidden Easter eggs, all these things. It was just, it was a fun website. It was really cool, all of that. The number of people walking through my door who'd bothered to even look at my website, even 1 page of it, it was just amazing. And those people, instead of getting anything more towards a job, what they got was a lecture of me telling them how offensive that is to me. You want a job from me, but you have no clue who I am. Other than I've got a doorway you can walk through, so apparently I have enough money to pay some people. That's as close as you get. So do your research. Figure out a company. By the way, if a company has more than a couple of employees and has no website, you don't want to work for them. Okay, if there's no information about them, you're joining the mob, not a company. Okay, so research them, figure it out. The next thing is who did I say you want to talk to? The owner. That's the key here. There's a reason you want to talk to owners. It's almost exclusive. There are no absolutes, so I can't say you would never talk to a manager, but really, the system is really broken by talking to managers. The reason that you don't want to talk to managers is managers are authorized to hire people for positions that exist. As an owner, I can hire anybody I want for any reason. I can create jobs out of nothing. That's what the owner does. And so they have abilities to do things that gives you opportunity when you walk in there. Okay? So you want to talk to the owner. How do you know if the owner's there? Okay, if you do your homework on a business, how much homework am I talking about? I regularly like to find out if I can recognize the owner's car. If you look at a business and the parking that goes with a business, if you look, usually at the very beginning of the day, at the very end of the day, what you're looking at is the cars of the people who work there. Okay? Because if you look outside of normal customer hours, you're looking at the vehicles of the people who work there. So, depending on the kind of business, very often those are behind the business, those sorts of, but you can identify those. Owners almost exclusively drive one of two cars that you'll see there. It's either the best car there, because they have the money, or the worst car there, because they won't spend any money on anything because they're in the business of making money. It's usually one of those two cars is what the owner drives. And a little bit of watching, you're likely, I think in my businesses, I think you could recognize the owners of our businesses by the way we come and go walking in and out of the place. I think owners carry themselves in a different way, those sorts of things. I think literally you could sit with a book across the street and watch a business for a day and pretty quickly be able to identify the owner of a company. Oh, by the way, often we have our pictures on our websites. So it's not that hard. Figure out who they are. Okay, here's where I get into multi-layered, if you really want to use my whole system. Okay? When do you want to walk in the door? This is my favorite technique and it works really, really good. And almost no one will do it. The time you want to walk in the door and ask for the owner is 5 minutes after the owner leaves during the day. Owners very regularly leave during the day. We run our own errands. There's no matter how much it makes more economic sense to have minimum wage people run errands, owners tend to run errands because we think it's free. And so we run errands we could easily get somebody else to do because that's what we do. We also run errands because we know we can talk about our business better than anybody else. And so we run errands that we don't need to because it's chances to network with people who later become our customers. So that's a positive reason for it, although there are plenty of times we do it when we really shouldn't. So I say 5 minutes after. It depends on where you are, these sorts of things. What I want is I want the owner to leave, and I want them to be just far enough away that it's a pain in the butt to turn around and come straight back. Okay? Because this is strategy. This is using the same things we talk about when we're talking about poker. This is using your gaming skills. What you're trying to do is you want them to be going away. Now, you don't want them to be gone for a long time because you don't know how long they're going to be gone for. Why do you want to do all of that? Because you want to wait. That's the key to this. The key to the strategy is waiting, because what you're trying to do is flip the narrative of please, please, please into the narrative where the other person's asking of you. The other person wants something from you. And so the idea is you start with let them leave. Walk in and say, is the owner available? What you want to hear is, oh, he just left. I'd really like to talk to him. Well, let me call him and see if he'll come back. Please don't. I don't want to interrupt his or her day. I really don't want to bother her. Is it okay? Is there someplace here I could just wait for their return? Okay. What you want to do is you want them to not draw them right back, because if you draw them right back at that moment, what you just did is interrupt their day. You just became the things that interrupt them all the time. Okay? That's not what you want to be. What you're demonstrating here is that you understand their life. You are flexible. You are trying to help their life. And so what you're doing is you're going, no, I'm fine. I would just like to wait. Is there a place I can sit and wait? Okay? Bring a book. Choose your book well. Your book will say a lot about who you are. Sit and read. Okay? How long are you hoping to wait? As long as possible. Do you know how brilliant it is? How much the strategy of an owner walked out at 9 o'clock in the morning, you walked in at 9:05, you were told the owner should be back in 45 minutes, and at 5 o'clock they're getting ready to lock up and he's not come back yet, or she hasn't come back yet? Do you know what story the employees are going to tell the next morning about the person who sat there all day just in hopes of talking to them? Okay? So what happens is eventually the owner returns. Very often you'll find that word got out to them anyway. Okay? Word got out to them, there's somebody here. Owners, the fact that you've waited increases the chance that the owner wants to talk to you. part of it is you just became unique. You just became the only thing in their life waiting for them. Okay? Not insisting on anything, just patiently waiting. Okay? When they introduce themselves, when you get the first chance to talk to them, what's the first thing that you say to them? Other than hello. Don't be a dork. When you have an opportunity and it's convenient for you, I'd like to have a chance to talk with you. Okay? Just because you waited there, you might have waited there 4 hours. They walk back in, especially if your system has worked really good and they don't know you're there. When they walk back in, don't become a problem. Don't become something that messes up their flow and schedule. You immediately say, no, my waiting was not important. You, having a conversation with you is important, but I'd like it to be when it works in your schedule. All I wanted to do was meet you and ask for an opportunity to speak to you when it fits your schedule. Now, my experience is it almost always fits their schedule right then. Why? I promise you, before they walked in the door, it didn't fit their schedule at all. It didn't, because business owners have too much to do all day long every day. It didn't fit their schedule. So why does it become convenient at that moment? It's because of the uniqueness of the situation. All of the things that you've done up to now fit an owner's way of looking at business. Employees demand things of you all the time. Whether they're doing it in person and saying, my least favorite question from an employee is, what do you want me to do? Is there something for me to do? Like, God, I'm paying you to be here. You should be busy every second. You should already know 19 things. The way you ask that of a boss is you walk up and say, I know that there's this and this and this and this to do. I could do one of those things, but I wanted to make sure you didn't have something else you wanted me to do. Because what that says is I have eyeballs and I've looked around and I see the crap that needs to be done. And no, the owner of a company does not have to keep a running damn list in their head of everything that needs to be done all the time. Because what I end up having to say is, no, I don't have anything. Go ahead and go home. Now you're not getting a paycheck, but I promise you 5 seconds after you walk out the door, I find some damn thing that needed to be done right now and now I'm doing it. But it's because I didn't have time that second to go find you a task. Okay? Be ahead of that. So, no, everything, employees, the fact that they're on the clock and they're on a clock for a certain amount of time, even if they're not talking to you, they're demanding things of you because they're demanding the task be in front of them constantly so you get value out of the time that's there. There's this constant demand all of the time of that. And what you're trying to do is not be that at all because it's a way of saying, I understand how busy you are. I understand how this works. As a matter of fact, the most important thing it says is I understand nobody's paying you to do anything, which means you have to do the things that bring you value first. I like going and talking to business owners. I do it as a consultant, and I do it as a fellow business person. I do it all the time. One of the ones that happens all the time. I've been talking. We've opened up a truck center, so we're going to be doing truck accessories. I'm talking to a fellow mechanic who owns another shop in town. We're negotiating some partnerships with them. A customer walks in the door. Now, I'm his customer too. That's how I know he's good. I take work to him all of the time. But another customer walks in the door. The first thing I do is go, no, talk to him. I'll wait. I get what's going on here. Don't have this customer who walked in the door you don't know wait while you talk to me on the change. You're not going to lose me as a customer. Okay? I always want to do that. It's a way of acknowledging I understand what world you're in. Or another business owner who goes, oh, sorry, I've got to answer this. I'm like, of course you have to answer it. There's more important shit than me. Answer your damn phone. It's fine. Because what I want is their time to get where I want to go, but I'm willing to wait till that time fits in the flow of things as best I can. That's what you're doing.